Welcome back to spooky season, everybody. I am really hyped to be making this video right now, and I mean really hyped, and I think you guys are gonna love it. We're gonna be doing something a little bit different today. A couple days ago, I was going through some old DVDs that I have, and I came across one that I completely forgot that I owned, and it dawned on me that this particular DVD is perfect for spooky season. The DVD is called Nicktoons Halloween Tales of Fright. It's literally just a collection of Halloween specials from different shows bundled together on one nifty DVD. I took one look at this thing and was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna review this whole ass DVD. That's why today, on our nostalgic walk down memory lane, we're going to be checking out a bunch of cool Nicktoons Halloween specials. This specific DVD was released in either 2002 or 2003. If you want a copy for yourself, you can find it on Amazon for like $7. It's totally worth it in my opinion, but as a complete nerd for classic Nicktoons, I'm definitely biased. Honestly, I love Halloween, I love spooky season, I love all of this, but the biggest thing I was super hyped about for this review was definitely the previews that play before the actual episodes themselves. I'm a sucker for old early 2000s commercials, especially Nickelodeon commercials. It's crazy to watch some of these and remember seeing them when I was a little kid. That's pretty much the literal definition of nostalgia, I guess, but with these previews, they just hit different. Most of these I literally haven't seen in 2 decades, and I'm super hyped to check them out.
In a world of undersea adventure, in a town that has no air, one sea creature stands alone. Nickelodeon and Paramount Home Entertainment proudly introduce a seaworthy collection of SpongeBob SquarePants DVDs and home videos. Take a wondrous journey into Bikini Bottom and discover one lovable sponge's hidden secrets. Find out the Krabby Patty recipe.
First bun, then patty, followed by ketchup, mustard, pickles, extra onions.
The real meaning of...
I'm ready.
And the sensitive side of SpongeBob.
Oh my, this chorus is so big and heavy.
It's action-packed adventure as SpongeBob finds his true calling.
I'm SpongeBob Jungle Pants. Todo Getty, Todo Dodo. Arr, I'm a pirate. I'm also
Super Sponge, soaking up crime.
Experience the magical journey of the whole Bikini Bottom gang as they fight for freedom.
This town ain't big enough for the two of us.
Face their darkest demons.
I'm a failure.
I'm a bad person.
And struggle to find meaning, glory,
Prepare to be vanquished.
and nifty dance routines. Thrill to SpongeBob's undersea adventures with great SpongeBob videos and DVDs, including extra special features available now. Plus, look for these and more new releases coming this year from Nickelodeon and Paramount Home Entertainment.
Okay, so this was just an insane blast from the past. I remember seeing this preview on multiple different Nickelodeon home movies in the early 2000s, and the waves of nostalgia just hit me like a ton of bricks. One thing I love about this preview is that at the time that these home videos were being released, SpongeBob was only partway into season 3, so like all of the source material used and all of the episodes presented were straight up from the golden era of SpongeBob. I'm a firm believer that pretty much the entire first 3 seasons of SpongeBob are just pure gold. There isn't a single bad episode to be seen in those early seasons. This preview really just reminded me of not only how much I truly loved this show when I was a little kid, but also how much I still do to this day. Me and my friends are constantly making SpongeBob references. It's a massive cultural phenomenon. Like, damn near everyone can quote SpongeBob. It's a show that truly changed Nickelodeon, be that for better or worse is a matter of individual opinion, but you can't deny that it had a huge impact on the network. I personally loved this preview, it was amazing, and let's see what's next.
On the plains of the Serengeti live 2 parents who talk to cameras.
If you're lucky, you might see a hyena.
A teenager
Excuse me while I go find a container for my joy.
who talks to herself.
Whatever.
A wild child who speaks his own language. And a young girl
Hey, Slowpokes!
with a very special gift.
Sometimes I wish I could just tell them I talk to animals.
No, then you'll lose your power.
Calm down, I won't break the rule.
Does your sister
Talk like a monkey, dress like a geek. Yeah, you get used to it.
He stuck a dung beetle up his nose.
Mom, Eliza wants us to race.
The planes are too dangerous.
Kayla, I'll be with them. You can trust me.
But when you live in an untamed world, the unexpected is just over the horizon.
Eliza! It's all my fault. We have to find those poachers.
Your intentions are noble, but you're just too young.
Tally is alive. Go save him, Eliza.
I'm going to find Tally, and you're not going to stop me.
Oh, yes, I am. That is so wrong.
Now,
I'll find you, Tally.
no journey is too far.
The monkey got to go to London.
Where's the bathroom?
You're standing on it.
No adventure is too dangerous. The poachers at the river. And no risk is too great.
So, my little troublemaker, who told you?
To save a friend.
Who told you these things?
Wait! I know because I can talk to animals. Oh, no!
My children are in the jungle alone?
You don't need extraordinary powers to do extraordinary things. You did this with your heart. If this is what you can do without your powers, you have a greater destiny than I've even known. The Wild Thornberrys movie.
Donnie, this is no time for the wedgie dance.
Whoa!
Okay, I'm kind of glad this was on here. The Wild Thornberrys is a show that I've wanted to talk about since I started my channel. I still haven't done that yet, and I don't really have a good excuse for that. This show is absolutely amazing. It's so original, and I know I say this kind of thing a lot, but it really just had a different feeling to it when compared to everything else Nickelodeon was putting out at the time. The Wild Thornberrys was a show unlike any other, and I definitely want to dedicate a few videos to the show in the future. I will say, I remember there being a Wild Thornberrys movie, but I completely forgot what it was about until I saw this preview. It all came back to me, and honestly, I remember this movie being really good. This preview was great, but let's see what else we got here.
For the first time ever, the adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius is blasting onto video and DVD. Nickelodeon and Paramount Home Entertainment present Time Warp, Wet Pants Attack, and Confusion Fusion.
Time to save the world!
Find out how Jimmy Neutron saved the world in the exclusive DVD, Confusion Fusion. Witness Carl, Sheen, and Goddard as they try to survive Jimmy's outrageous inventions in Time Warp and When Pants Attack on home video.
We must have made a tiny miscalculation.
Gadgets, gizmos, and gimmicks galore in When Pants Attack. Battling babies, battling bands, and a blast from the past extravaganza in Time Warp.
Guys, I got it under control.
The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron blasting onto home video in Wet Pants Attack and Time Warp, or both videos together on the DVD Confusion Fusion with extra special features, each sold separately. Available now.
For once, everything turned out perfect.
Okay, so this one feels a little more niche in my opinion. Jimmy Neutron is a show that I feel like has gotten more popular over the years, but at the time, when this was coming out, it wasn't like all too popular. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but hey, SpongeBob had like 10 different DVDs he was slinging at this time, while Jimmy only had 2 VHS tapes, or a DVD that was just both VHS tapes put together. I will say though, the preview was clever, and it made me want to watch some Jimmy Neutron. What's weird though is that when the SpongeBob DVDs from the first preview were revealed, I remember actually seeing them places. They were on shelves at stores and pretty easy to find. However, I don't remember seeing any of these Jimmy Neutron home videos. I don't know, just an interesting observation. Moving on though, let's see what else we got here.
We've got ourselves a bogey.
Anticipate visual contact now. Holy...
Hi! Nice antiques! Got a blast!
Meet Jimmy Neutron. He's a boy genius.
Oops.
In school,
What are you drawing?
My latest invention.
he's light years ahead of the pack.
The shrink ray. Will it work on your big head?
But in being cool,
Bubble travel is the way of the future.
he's got a little catching up to do.
Nice invention, Nerdtron. Better luck next time. James Isaac Neutron. I didn't do it.
Oh, stop, drop, and roll. Okay, Jimmy, that's the last straw.
Mom says you're grounded.
Maybe I should check on him.
No, I don't. Freeze that image. The search is over.
Our parents have been kidnapped by aliens! There are absolutely no adults anywhere within radar. These crummy aliens stole our parents. It's time to show them what we're made of. Yeah! Okay, that gives us about 2 days to design and test our fusion engines and build our fleet of interstellar warships. Any questions?
If we blow up, whatever's left of me is kicking your butt.
Here we go. Here we go.
From Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon Movies.
Hang on, everyone.
This year, get ready to blast.
I may be small, but I've got a big brain.
You know, for a nerd, he sure comes in handy.
Jimmy Neutron, boy genius.
I didn't think we liked girls yet, Jim.
Oh, we don't, no.
Okay.
Not yet, no.
Now on video and DVD.
Okay, so the order here is kind of confusing and, in my personal opinion, doesn't make much sense. Before this, we just got a preview saying, hey, check out these new Jimmy Neutron DVDs with all of your favorite episodes, but now we just got a trailer for the Jimmy Neutron movie that began with basically, meet Jimmy Neutron, which is just kind of weird. Also bearing in mind that Jimmy Neutron worked the opposite for most shows. Usually the show starts out with a few seasons before getting a full-blown movie. Meanwhile, Jimmy Neutron started with the movie and later on the TV show began development. Also, though the Jimmy Neutron movie was pretty good, but in my opinion, the show was a lot better. I don't know, decent preview, but next.
Some heroes are born. Some heroes are made. Some make it up as they go. Tak and the Power of Juju, the video game, coming fall 2003. This game is not yet rated.
Okay, so I really appreciate that they threw in a video game trailer as part of the previews. That makes my inner gamer happy. I remember playing Tak and the Power of Juju when I was a kid, and honestly, it didn't really stick out to me much, to be honest. I don't remember a single thing about this video game. It was pretty simple, and it was fun as a kid, but honestly, I don't know, I was just never really a huge fan of the Tak and the Power of Juju IP. It never really stuck with me as a kid. I remember Nickelodeon making a Tak and the Power of Juju show, but I never really watched it. All in all, meh, I mean decent preview, but nothing really to write home about. But that's gonna be the last preview on this DVD. I will say though, seeing those old trailers was a good blast from the past. Honestly, I miss DVDs for that reason. Seeing the previews as a kid always was mesmerizing to me. I'm curious though, are there still previews on DVDs nowadays? I honestly haven't bought a DVD in years, so I'm not 100% sure. With the ease of streaming readily available on pretty much all devices, it kind of feels like DVD is a dying format, but I'm sure there's still an audience for the medium out there. I honestly hope that DVD never dies out. I'm a sucker for physical media. I prefer to buy video games physically instead of digitally. I like buying actual, vinyl records, CDs, and cassettes instead of just streaming my music. I love physical books instead of using an e-reader, though I don't personally buy DVDs anymore, I could still find an appreciation for the medium. As for this specific DVD though, the very first episode on it is a SpongeBob SquarePants episode called Scaredy Pants, which I've already covered in a past spooky season video, so instead of talking about it again, I'll just link that video down in the description. It's a fantastic episode and I love how that video turned out, so you definitely are going to want to check it out after you finish this video. Next up on the DVD though, we have the Rugrats episode called Cursed of the Werewolf. This episode starts out with Dee Dee and Betty at the kitchen table carving pumpkins. Betty is just pumped for Halloween, but she teases Dee Dee for her pumpkin with a big smiley face on it, saying that it's not scary enough, but Dee Dee stresses that she just doesn't want it to be too intense for the babies.
What on earth is going on?
Okay, boys and ghouls, back to the playpen with you.
Boom! I scared you a little, right, big guy?
Stu's been like that all week. He's more excited about Halloween than all the kids put together.
Gee, who would have guessed? From here to there and back? Yeah.
We see Angelica trying to sneak some candy when her dad catches her, and in true pushover fashion, he tells her no, but easily caves when she asks nicely. We cut over to the babies who are questioning why Stu has been acting so weird.
Oh, dumb babies, it's Halloween! Halloween? What's that? Don't you know anything? Halloween's the bestest holiday there is. You dress up and go trick-or-treating, and you get lots and lots of candy. Candy? He likes candy! Speaking of candy, you're gonna eat that? Ew!
Angelica explains trick-or-treating to the babies, who just seem really confused by the concept. Just then, the doorbell rings, and Stu decides to play a prank on whoever it is ringing the doorbell.
Okay, ready.
Oh, yeah, it's only Uncle Stu.
You see, Chucky? It's Tommy's dad. Whew. He was playing a Halloween joke on us. Come on, let's go inside. There's nothing to be scared of now.
Chaz brings Chucky on over to the playpen with his friends, and then he sits down, telling all the adults that he's worried that Halloween is going to be too scary for Chucky. Betty gets the idea to take the kids out tomorrow dressed up as monsters to make them feel scarier than anything else that they're going to see out there, planning to embrace their inner monsters. Back in the playpen, Chucky's talking about how scary Halloween is when Angelica walks up and he compliments her costume.
Now, do you babies want to know the bestest part of dressing up for Halloween? Whatever you dress up as, you turn into for real. You mean? That's right, Finster. Tomorrow, you're gonna turn into a werewolf forever and ever and ever! Huh? See ya!
Chucky is absolutely freaked out by the idea of having to be a werewolf for Halloween, and it's made even worse when Angelica tells him that whatever they dress up as, they're gonna turn into for real. We then cut to Chucky lost in his mind, imagining what turning into a werewolf is gonna be like. We see werewolf Chucky run out of his window and howl at the moon before he heads for the city. He goes to Phil and Lil's house and says that he's there to steal them because werewolves are supposed to steal babies apparently. He gets scared and runs away when they threaten to eat him up. Chucky ends up being cornered and his dad tries to put him inside of a pumpkin, but at that exact moment we learn that this was all just a dream as Chucky wakes up in his bed. Kimmy comes in dressed as a witch, and when his mom pulls out his costume, Chucky just kind of panics. We cut to Tommy's house where we see Tommy dressed as a vampire, Phil and Lil dressed up as bats, and Chucky in his werewolf costume. Everyone is excited and enjoying their costumes while Chucky is just straight up not having a good time.
Angelica!
That's it. We warned you. No trick-or-treating at the amusement park.
But, Daddy?
Well, your mother's right, Angelica. You disobeyed, so no trick-or-treating.
Angelica walks up to the babies and says that since she's a princess, she has the power to turn Chucky back into a baby instead of a werewolf, and she'll do that as long as they agree to give her all of their trick-or-treat candy. None of the other babies want to give up their candy, and Angelica says that she won't do it unless they all agree to fork over their candy. We cut over to the amusement park where we see everyone arrive, excited to check out all of the cool attractions. Grandpa Lou and Lulu take the babies to check out a haunted house, while Stu and the other adults go bobbing for apples.
The night at the retirement village was scarier than this. Oh, but it is cute, isn't it?
A scary werewolf and his friend the vampire and some bats!
Don't forget one old geezer.
Ah, you bet your third eye they're scary. Go get them, kids. Show them who's boss.
The kids wander the halls of the haunted house until they come upon a little girl in a princess outfit. Chucky gets the idea to ask her for help since Angelica's refusing to help them.
Excuse me, Your Highness? I didn't want to scare her. I told you guys monsters was mean, and now I'm one of them forever!
We cut to outside of the haunted house where we see Tommy saying that Chucky was right and that monsters are scary and mean, so they want to turn back into babies. They all go to find Chucky, who walked off, and they tell him that they don't want to be monsters anymore either, so they're going to give Angelica all their candy just so she'll turn them back.
Now what do we do? Well, first we got to find lots of candy. Then we got to find Angelica. Ready, Chucky? Well, I got to go potty, but I think I better wait until I'm me again.
The babies find a guy dressed up as a dummy bear and handing out candy. They all get candy bags and go on their merry way to find more candy. With their bags nearly full, they go to find Angelica, who's in a grown-up haunted house. The babies go in, and this haunted house is obviously more intense than the one that Lou and Lulu took them into. Angelica ends up in the haunted house cowering behind a tree. She begs the babies to get her out of there, and they refuse until she turns them back into babies again. She begrudgingly agrees.
All right, I'll do it. Fixed today, fixed it all, make them dumb babies again, blah, blah, blah. Happy now? Huh? Now that we're not scary monsters, what do we do? Well, at least I don't got to worry about going potty no more.
They try to find their way out, and they end up falling down a trapdoor and a slide that leads them outside of the haunted house. All of the babies celebrate the fact that Chucky stood up to Angelica and the fact that they got turned into babies again.
You babies are even dumber than I thought. You actually believed you were monsters for real? You mean that was all a lie? And you fell for it. Hey, that means we don't got to give you our candy. Oh, yes, you do. I took the curse off here and swear.
Angelica's parents walk up and catch her eating all the candy, and she gets in trouble for having candy when she was told no. Meanwhile, the babies are celebrating Chucky and the fact that he didn't get scared at all in the grown-up haunted house.
But just to be safe, let's dress up as something nice next Halloween. Like a kitty cat or a bunny rabbit. Or a frog. A frog, Philip? Frogs eat bugs, Lillian. Oh, yeah! Next year we'll be frogs.
Okay, so this episode was actually pretty good. I gotta admit, I'm not the biggest fan of the later seasons of Rugrats. Everything after the Rugrats in Paris movie was a little bit meh in my opinion. Things had changed a lot in the show, and it just didn't have the same vibe that it did during the earlier seasons. But regardless of that, this was a pretty good episode. As a kid, I watched the early episodes a lot more than later episodes, to be honest, and I actually completely forgot about this one. I want to say that I saw it maybe once when I was younger, maybe twice, but that was probably it. To be fair though, these later seasons of Rugrats did have a few good episodes sprinkled in, and this was definitely one of those really good episodes in my opinion. I'm a sucker for a good Halloween special, and this one was really good. I honestly like the original Halloween special. I honestly like the OG Rugrats Halloween special from season 1 a lot more, but this one wasn't bad by any means. I liked the animation of the babies' costumes, especially Tommy as a vampire. I'm not really sure why, but vampire costume is really fitting for Tommy, and I dig it. I also loved Dee Dee's mummy costume. The way her face was completely wrapped up and her glasses were on the outside was actually pretty hilarious, and Dee Dee as a character is just kind of awkward and soft-spoken in general, and her being awkwardly wrapped up as a mummy just kind of makes sense. I also really liked the scary haunted house that the babies went into. It's hilarious that Angelica ended up being way more scared than the babies were, and I feel like that's just kind of karma for the most part. Overall though, not a bad episode all things considered. Moving on from there, the DVD shifts from Rugrats to another classic, amazing show, and that's gonna be Rocket Power, and I was so happy to see the show included on this DVD. We're checking out the episode It Came from Planet Merv. We see Squid reading a comic book while all the other kids are skating. Twister ends up mocking Squid for reading instead of skateboarding because he thinks books are boring. Squid ends up determined to find a book that Twister's gonna like.
Whoa! All the classics are here. Check this one out. The alien invaders next door. Cool. But he always thought his neighbor was a little different. Little did he know, he was out of this world. Resistance is useless.
Twister ends up passing out and having a nightmare where alien invaders are turning people into food, and he skates away from them as fast as he can. He wakes up completely screaming, yet relieved that it was all just a dream. We end up seeing Twister and his family at the table.
Why were you screaming so much last night, dork?
'Cause I had a dream about your face.
You want to dream about my fist?
Now, boys, what did we say about threatening each other at breakfast?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of threats, Old Man Stimpleton chased me off the sidewalk with his garden hose.
That guy's a crank.
He doesn't like anyone, does he?
Now, boys, what did I say about making rash generalizations about our neighbors at breakfast?
Yes, ma'am.
Twister ends up running off, terrified that Merv might be from another planet.
Now, Raoul, what did I say about accusing the neighbors of being from another planet?
Yes, dear.
Twister goes over to talk to Otto and tell him the news about how Merv is definitely an alien. Of course, that's just bizarre and Otto doesn't believe him, but then they go over to spy on Merv and see him talking to his wife through a walkie-talkie.
Must perform tool check. Signing off! Over!
Look at that belt, Otto! He's armed to the false teeth.
I hear you! You can't escape me, rodent trespasser!
We then see Merv talking to his wife, saying that he was chasing away a gopher. Meanwhile, Otto and Twister are in Otto's house, spying on Merv with some binoculars. Otto tries to rationalize it, saying that just because he has a weird walkie-talkie doesn't mean that he's an alien, but then Squid walks up and offers to help Merv, and this happens.
No, Sam! Don't do it!
All who resist will be destroyed! That's it! Game over! Fry Squid!
In Outside of Merv's house, we learn that Squid had stepped on a thumbtack, hence why he screamed out in pain. Merv goes back outside to hunt for more gophers, and he leaves Squid inside to help his wife, which makes Twister and Otto panic even more, thinking that Squid is a goner.
Hey guys! Ah! What's happening?
Sam and Merv, the thing with the laser zapper and the talking box. Simpleton, an alien, he's about to start an invasion.
Police!
Of course, Reggie doesn't believe it and laughs at them for being so ridiculous, saying that she's gonna go over to their house, and if he is an alien, she promises to stop the invasion. They watch Reggie go inside as they cry in fear. Back inside of Merv's house, we see Reggie and Sam in the kitchen while Merv and his wife argue about him tracking mud in the house.
I bet you tracked in all kinds of mud!
In Korea, mud was the least of our problems, woman.
Well, before you go another round with that gopher, would you please fix the doorbell?
Does a doorbell lead to petunias? Does a doorbell dig up the lawn? Does a doorbell undermine the very fabric of our society?
Outside, we end up seeing Otto and Twister trying to ring the doorbell and find Reggie, but as we just found out, the doorbell doesn't work. Twister tries to leave, but Otto decides to just open the door in hopes of finding his sister.
Now let's cook them up. Make them all nice and crispy.
Don't let them get all black and burned on the bottom this time.
Dude, where's Reggie? On the menu.
Twister and Otto end up going back to Otto's room as they decide to prepare for battle with the alien invaders. They suit up in their hockey gear and head over to attack Merv. They end up destroying his device that he left on the ground, and Merv comes outside freaking out.
Your mind control tricks won't work on me, alien! Even I can't control my mind.
What on earth have you done?
Funny you should mention Earth. Alien invader?
Alien invader? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Let's get him!
Reggie and Sam end up coming out of the house and laughing at Otto and Twister for being dumb. Merv explains that his gopher zapper is completely harmless, unless you're a gopher, and Twister ends up being embarrassed that he led Otto to believe that Merv could be an alien.
We had you all wrong.
You're darn right you did. My people's invasion of your puny planet doesn't start for another month.
Okay, now that plot twist at the very end was absolutely amazing. I gotta point out that the depiction of Merv as an alien in that final scene is just awesome. Something about bright green alien Merv is so cool. This episode was truly just fantastic. I'm a sucker for a good alien horror movie. This episode leaning into the fear of an alien invasion was just great. I really enjoy a good storyline where circumstances align just right to make someone perceive things differently from how they are. The specific circumstances that led to both Twister and Otto believing that Merv was an alien were just kind of hilarious. The timing of Squid coming up to offer help couldn't have been any better. Of course, I feel like Reggie decided to stay at their house and linger for a while just to make Otto and Twister worry just a little bit more. I can't help but wonder though, if they thought he was an alien, why did they just toss him into the pool? Like, if he was legit gonna take over the planet and they wanted to stop him, why didn't they attack him with their hockey sticks? I get that this is a children's cartoon and they definitely didn't want to lean into the violence, but the logic of dragging him into the pool doesn't really make much sense to me. I will say though, this episode was completely fantastic. Next up on the DVD, we have yet another episode of Rocket Power, and it's going to be the episode called Netherworld Night. Eddie, the Prince of the Netherworld, comes up and tells the gang that they are invited to his house tomorrow for a sleepover. Otto happily says that they'll be there, much to everyone else's dismay.
What'd you do that for?
What? Tell Eddie we'd sleep over at his house tomorrow. What's the big deal? We always hang out with Eddie. Yeah, but at Madtown or at the beach? Never inside his house. Who knows what kind of freaky stuff goes on over there? You guys are just chickens. Buck, buck, buck. Right, Reg?
Don't look at me, Rocket Boy. I'm not going in Eddie's house.
Later that day, we see the group of friends outside of Eddie's house just terrified at the idea of having to go inside and hang out with him. Eddie finds them outside and he asks if they're excited for the sleepover tomorrow. The gang struggles to find an excuse to not have to stay at Eddie's house, but ultimately they end up saying it'd be a lot more fun to have a camp out behind the house.
A camp out behind the house? By the woods? Excellent idea. Bring your sleeping bags. I'll tell the Mistress of Darkness to bring the blood elixir outside. Blood elixir? Fruit punch, duh!
We see Twister and Otto on the phone later, and Twister is just refusing to go to the campout. He says that Eddie is creepy and that the woods are creepy and that there could be monsters out there. Lars overhears him having this conversation, and we cut to Lars talking to his friends about it.
I heard my brother talking to Rocket Dork. They're camping out at Weird Eddie's house and they're really spooked. This is our chance to really mess with their minds.
Later on, we see Otto, Reggie, Squid, and Twister getting ready and packing their bags for the campout. The gang arrives at Eddie's house, and when Eddie invites them inside, they say that they can't go inside and just decide to meet him out back instead. Meanwhile, we see Lars and all of his friends plotting to mess with them. Fast forward a little bit later, we see Eddie and the gang in a tent in the backyard as he tries to tell them a scary story from his book, but they're all terrified and seem to not want to hear it.
This is gonna be great! You got everything? Right here.
Okay, so I gotta really quick just pause and point out Lars and his friends, right? I remember the tall red-haired kid and the more husky, dark-haired kid in the hockey jersey, but this other dude right here, I totally don't remember. Like, look at the chin stubble and stuff. This kid kind of looks like a fully grown man. I don't recall Lars ever hanging out with this guy before, but maybe I'm just remembering the show wrong. Who knows? In the tent, we see the kids hearing a scary story told by Eddie, while Lars and his friends are preparing their prank.
Okay, Animal, take the dummy into the woods. Pike, get the sound effects ready. Wow, I never knew red gelatin looked so much like blood. I can't wait to see the looks on these little twerps' faces when they meet the monster.
Naturally, of course, Eddie is telling a story of a monster that lives in the forest, and Lars and his friends are more or less planning to play into that story.
Twister, where are you? Lars? Lars, what are you doing out here?
Mom sent me to get you. She wants you home now.
Here I come.
I have never been so happy to see Lars.
Twist, Mom wants you.
The kids freak out, saying that Lars is being murdered. They see him outside covered in what looks like blood as he starts to act like a zombie and chase them. The kids sprint towards Eddie's house. The kids end up sprinting towards Eddie's house and they run into the monster. They beeline and run another direction before they see a mannequin hanging from a tree. They run and they finally end up reaching Eddie's house when they notice a bucket that's stuck to Twister's leg.
What are we gonna do? Call the police! Call the army! Call my mommy! Hey, Twister! What's on your foot? Huh? It's a bucket of blood!
Wait! That's not blood. It's strawberry fun jelly! Actually, it's cherry passion fruit medley. My favorite! Too bad I'm too scared to ever eat again.
Reggie pieces together the clues and realizes that Lars played a trick on them, and at that same time, Eddie's dad approaches. Next thing you know, we see Otto and Twister approaching Lars and his friends. They play it cool and say that that was an amazing prank and pretend that they aren't upset. They end up inviting the group into Eddie's house for some pizza.
Yeah, whatever. Where's the pizza you dorks promised us?
It's right here. Here's the sacrifice I promised, Queen of Darkness.
You've done well. Their heads will be excellent additions to the collection. Executioner! Oh!
Let's get out of here!
Lars and his friends run out of the house completely terrified. We then learn that Eddie's parents own a magic shop in town, and that's why they have all these kooky things all over the house.
Now, why don't we get some of those pizzas you were talking about and really get this sleepover going?
Hey, let's go watch a video. Have you ever seen the house that drips blood?
How about a cartoon, Dad?
Good idea.
This episode was just great. Not gonna lie, I completely forgot about this one. Rocket Power is a show that I feel like didn't get all too much recognition on Nickelodeon. It was a great show, and I feel like it just didn't get very much airtime. I made a spooky season about Rocket Power last year, and the episode featured in that video was amazing in my opinion, but this one was just fantastic. I really liked the episodes involving Eddie, and this one was really cool because we got a glimpse into his personal life, and we even got to meet his parents. I don't get though why the group was so apprehensive to go to Eddie's house. They hang out with him all the time, but for some reason the idea of his house was just terrifying. Like, I get it, he puts on the whole Prince of the Netherworld persona, but under that mask we see time and time again that Eddie is just another normal kid. I don't get why they made such a big deal about going to his house. Especially after going there in person the day before the sleepover, honestly his house looked pretty nice and not really scary at all. I'm not sure what made them perceive it the way they did, but it was definitely a gross overreaction in my opinion. It made me glad to see Lars and his friends get what was coming to them too. Lars is always being just a massive jerk to Twister and the gang. The episodes where they get revenge on him always just kind of hit different. All in all though, this was a really great episode in my opinion. Moving on from there, the DVD pivots from Rocket Power on over to another phenomenal Nicktoon, Hey Arnold, with the episode Arnold's Halloween. I cannot wait to dive into this one. It begins at the boarding house where we see Arnold and Gerald watching an alien show where a mothership full of aliens are about to attack the Earth.
Bet they attack the Earth tonight.
Tune in to the Z-Files next week when aliens attack the Earth.
Next week? Oh, I can't believe you kids can watch that garbage. The writing is terrible.
Next, it's UFO Tonight with your host, Douglas Kane.
UFO Tonight? I love this show!
UFOs. Flying saucers. They loom large in the imagination, but indeed, do they exist?
Grandpa turns off the TV and says that it's time for their meeting regarding the annual boarding house Halloween party. Arnold asks if maybe him and Gerald can help out, but Grandpa says no because Halloween is serious and is not for kids.
No, Arnold. The purpose of Halloween is to scare the living daylights out of everyone until they scream bloody murder and beg for mercy. Ho, I do love a good Halloween prank. And this year we're gonna do it better than ever. Now go to bed.
Things get out of hand very quickly as Mr. Wynn and Ernie start fighting. Meanwhile, Gerald and Arnold walk away saying that they're gonna plot a good scare for the adults involving aliens. Over at Helga's house, we see Bob with some friends playing poker and watching UFO Tonight while Bob completely ignores Helga. Mr. Green and Harvey catch wind of the UFO show and they call BS. Meanwhile, Bob says that it's not fake and that he himself has had a close encounter.
Driving a pickup full of cut-rate Canadian transistors across North Dakota. All of a sudden, the radio starts acting funny. Grass all around me's blowing flat and there's this weird light coming from all directions. Next thing I know, I'm wandering around in the parking lot of the Royal Fork Smorgasbord. Now, how the heck did that happen?
Anyone else see the flying saucer, Bob?
Nope, I was the only witness.
Naturally, Harvey and Mr. Green don't believe Bob. We cut over to Helga with the other kids saying that they're gonna dress up as aliens, matching the description that Bob gave. Arnold and Gerald catch wind of the idea, and they end up inviting everyone over to Arnold's Halloween party because it'll play perfectly into the alien invasion prank that they're planning. We fast forward to Halloween where Helga is trying to show Bob her costume.
What do you think of my costume?
It's fine.
Dad, you haven't even seen it yet.
Huh? Helga, what? I'm trying to figure out how much I lost on football yesterday.
Dad, I just want you to look at the costume I'm wearing.
There, I see it. You satisfied? Or how could Green Bay win again?
Another touching father-daughter moment. If anyone needs me, I'll be out soaping windows.
Over at Arnold's house, we see Grandpa passing out candy and scaring the ever-loving shit out of kids.
Oh, you all look so adorable. Why don't you help yourself to some worms and cockroaches? Happy Halloween!
The party seems to be a massive hit, with everyone there having a blast, but we catch a glimpse of some wires that are attached to the jukebox. The wires run up the roof where Arnold and Gerald are preparing their scheme. Meanwhile, all of the kids dressed as aliens are coming towards the boarding house.
Quiet, everybody. Something's going on.
I repeat, we have reports of an alien spacecraft landing on the outskirts of the city. I'm at the scenes where a small crowd has gathered around a scorched area where a saucer-like craft has landed. Wait! The top of the craft seems to be opening. Unscrewing like a huge lid.
Now it's opening, and something is coming out.
Gerald and Arnold create what sounds like aliens invading in a scene that's practically a recreation of the whole War of the Worlds debacle. Meanwhile, we cut over to a news broadcaster who's in a van in the middle of nowhere.
Mr. Kane, sir, this is Smitty.
Come in, Smitty.
Yeah, sir. Could I come back to the station now? It's Halloween night, and
No, you cannot come back to the station. It's All Hallows Eve, the perfect night for aliens to try and infiltrate our planet disguised as humans. I sent you out to look for signs of paranormal alien activity, and that's what you will continue to do until your shift ends at 10 o'clock.
But
Over and out, Mr. Smitty.
We see the guy who asked to go home driving around and complaining, but when he turns on the radio, he picks up the broadcast of Gerald talking about the aliens. Of course, the van pulls up to Arnold's street and sees the kids dressed up as aliens, and the guy pulls out his camera to film.
Yes?
Trick or treat!
Ah! It's the aliens! They're here!
What side, Gramps?
We cut over to Helga's house where Bob is watching Wheel of Fortune, but then the UFO Tonight guy takes over the broadcast with an emergency message that aliens have landed among us and they're gonna enslave the human race. We see the same broadcast being played on every single TV in town.
I see it. Huge. Like nothing I've ever seen. The mothership! I repeat, it's landing on Wells Ridge. It's huge, with busts and rings of light around it. The mothership!
Arnold, kill the lights! Stinky, come in, Stinky. The eagle has landed.
I don't see no eagle here, Arnold, but I'm gonna go ahead and plug in the mothership.
We see Stinky at the water tower on the outskirts of town as it's rigged with lights. He plugs it in to make it look like a spaceship, and the crazy amount of lights makes the power in town go off.
Hey, all them other lights went out. Now ain't that a coinkydink? Over.
Look! It's the mothership!
It's the end of the world! Stinky? Stinky? Oh, well. I wonder if our little radio show scared anybody.
Arnold and Gerald end up coming down, and they find Grandpa packing up the Packard so that he can flee. Arnold tries to explain to him that it's just a prank that they planned, and he doesn't believe them at first, but they explain everything, and Grandpa finally believes them.
Well, what do you know? That was you! Ooh, very impressive. Hey, what about Douglas Kane flapping his gums about it on TV? How'd you convince him?
Wait a minute. Douglas Kane was talking about it on TV?
Yeah, a special bulletin, just like your prank. Except he was showing video of the same aliens that came to our front door. The news is all over town. The city's in panic.
Arnold and Gerald connect the dots that the news picked up their broadcast, and they end up seeing Helga and all the other kids being chased by an angry mob.
Well, short man, looks like we better go save your friends. Hop in, boys. Pookie, what are you doing? It's a bad night to be out.
Don't wait up.
Crazy old bird.
Back at Helga's house, Bob is listening to the radio and he hears from the news that every electronic has been affected, even beepers are being jammed, which for Bob is a personal matter. He gears up and breaks out his military-grade Hummer to go alien hunting.
We're not aliens! We're just a bunch of kids out trick-or-treating dressed as aliens!
Don't be fooled by them! That's what all aliens think!
Get it through your dickhead! We're just a bunch of 4th graders! This is just makeup! See? Hey, it won't come off.
Get them! Get the grip!
We learn that Harold bought permanent exterior latex, which is why the face paint won't come off. Arnold and Gerald try telling everyone that all of this is a Halloween trick, but no one believes them. We see Bob driving like an absolute maniac to find the aliens as he calls Mr. Green and Harvey, recruiting them to defeat the aliens with him. Meanwhile, back at the TV station, the UFO Tonight guy is preparing for battle. They prepare a convoy and head out to where they think the aliens are.
Look at these pathetic losers. They don't stand a chance against the aliens.
Let's see if I got it right now. I surrender! Hail, conquering heroes from outer space! Oh yeah, that's good. That's good, very good. Make friends right away, good. Please don't hurt me, my liege. I come bearing gifts.
Hey, isn't that the school principal?
Yeah, it's Principal Warts.
Bob and his friends pick up Principal Warts and call him out because he was clearly going to surrender to the aliens. They threaten him to be part of the battle or else. Things get dicey when we see the group of aliens run up the ridge where the water tower is, and they run into Stinky.
Howdy, Helga. You fellers having a fun Halloween? Fun? You think being chased up a hill by an angry mob is fun? They think we're real aliens! You don't say. I wonder if it's on account of Arnold and Gerald and me playing that Halloween prank on the radio, saying the aliens were attacking the planet.
You mean this whole alien attack is a prank?
Meanwhile, Bob and the group are planning to use some beepers wired together with an egg timer to create a bomb that will explode the mothership. We see the UFO Tonight guy standing at the ridge before the mothership and giving what he believes is his final report. Things come to a climax when the group of aliens run up to the water tower and they attempt to climb up it to get away. But Bob catches them.
Nobody move! I've got your repulsive little leader.
Dad, it's me, Helga!
Huh. You do sound like Helga. Oh, it's happening. My worst fear. The aliens are taking over my mind. You're gonna pay for this.
This is astonishing. A large, hulking man is about to wring the alien leader's scrawny neck.
Arnold runs up to stop Bob, who is just convinced that he's saving the world right now. Bob ends up waving Arnold away, which Mr. Green takes as the signal to launch the beeper bomb.
Helga? Is that you? Is it really you, Helga?
Hello! It's been me the whole time, you big goof!
Oh, holy cow! I almost killed my own daughter! I'm a monster!
Everyone celebrates, having realized that the aliens weren't real. Meanwhile, Arnold's grandma rewires the town's power to get the lights back on. Everyone comes to the realization that it wasn't a spaceship and that it was just the water tower.
The whole wild affair is exposed as a ridiculous hoax. I can assure you that Douglas Kane
is a big, pompous windbag. Let's all go home and get some sleep. What do you say?
I'm glad everything worked out, Grandpa. I'll never do a prank like that again.
What are you talking about? You terrified the entire city and nearly caused the end of the world? Oh, I'm proud of you, boy. Proud.
The episode ends with Grandpa telling Arnold that the prank was impressive and everything seems to go back to normal, paying no mind to the fact that Bob literally just blew a massive hole in a water tower. Honestly, this episode was one hell of a wild ride. Things got out of hand super quickly in this one. Arnold and Gerald's idea for a prank just went way too far. They created a legit radio broadcast that the whole city picked up on. That's no easy feat for two kids. Plus, basically tricking Helga and the gang to get dressed up as aliens was an excellent added bonus. However, it turns out that the townspeople take their alien conspiracies very seriously, all thanks to that guy from UFO Tonight. This man pretty much single-handedly has the entire town brainwashed into believing that aliens are real. The prank was crazy, the angry mob chasing the kids was crazy, but the craziest thing had to be Bob's reaction. He full-blown blew up a water tower and almost murdered his own daughter, not to mention kidnapping Principal Warts and tying up and gagging him. This was an absolute wild ride, and it definitely did a great job of paying homage to the War of the Worlds hysteria from October of 1938, when they broadcasted War of the Worlds over the radio, and listeners who tuned in later thought that it was an actual broadcast for a real alien invasion. All in all, this episode was fantastic. Not really the scariest episode of Hey Arnold specifically, but for a Halloween special, it was damn near flawless. In the final entry for this DVD, we move on over to another beloved Nicktoon with the Fairly Odd Parents episode, Scary Godparents. This episode starts off on a distant planet that looks like a flaming jack-o'-lantern. We see a giant Pumpkinator robot saying that it's about to destroy the planet.
Yes! Intergalactic Scourge! I can totally defeat you in less than 10 seconds!
It's Crash Nebula. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ah, space crud.
That's what I want to be for Halloween. That!
Okay!
Timmy says that he wants to be a Jack-O-Bot for Halloween, but when he wishes for the costume, it doesn't work. Cosmo and Wanda explain that there are only 4 Jack-O-Bot costumes in the world, and they were won in a contest. Meanwhile, we see Timmy's parents come home, and this happens.
I'm going as your mom!
And I'm going as your dad.
And I'm going straight to therapy.
The heck you are! You're going trick-or-treating whether you're crazy or not!
We hear some trick-or-treaters come up, and we see Trixie and the rest of the rich kids at the door wearing the Jack-O-Bot costumes. Timmy asks how they got the costumes because they were supposed to be won in a contest, but they explain that they're so rich that they just bribed the judges.
Now fork over the treats or you get tricked.
Ooh, there'll be no need for tricking here.
Costumes this wonderful deserve treats equally as wonderful.
Here's Timmy's video games, all of his CDs, and the money we were saving for his birthday presents.
Hey, why'd you give them all my wonderful stuff?
Why not? Those costumes were wonderful.
Chester and AJ come up to trick or treat, and they get lame stuff because they don't have super cool Jack-O-Bot costumes. Just then, Vicky comes up saying that she's getting paid to take the kids trick-or-treating, which is basically a nightmare come reality for Timmy.
I'm dead, aren't I? You're not just dead, you're undead! Good thing I brought the 2-ply! 1 ply, too many! I can't break free!
Ooh, a mummy made of toilet paper. Much less lame.
And remember, I get a 70-30 split of all candy taken in. Move it!
Timmy tries to stay optimistic about having to trick-or-treat with Vicky, but it's just miserable. We cut over to the Yucatecans who are spying on Earth.
It appears the Earthlings are hosting some sort of intergalactic convention.
Without inviting us? They're conspiring against us! Ah!
This offense by the Earthlings demands a royal response of the highest order. I shall pout!
We see Timmy and his friends having an awful time trick-or-treating. The rich kids are getting all sorts of candy. Meanwhile, Timmy and his friends get safety reflective tape from Principal Wexelplex and are threatened by Dr. Bender.
Wait. You were right, my queen. It is a conspiracy. The Earthlings are arming themselves for war with the substance most lethal to we Yucatecans. Candy! The French demands a royal response of an even higher order. I shall write an angry letter! Somebody mail this.
Timmy and his friends arrive at the Bucks-A-Plenty mansion, where the rich kids are leaving with all sorts of cool goodies. Timmy and his friends trick-or-treat at the house, and instead of candy, they get attacked by very angry pit bulls. They try to hide, but the Bucks Aplenty spotlights give them away when the light shines off the reflective tape.
Okay! I was just being dramatic!
We later see all of the neighborhood kids lined up to give Vicky a portion of their candy, and Timmy gets to thinking about how much their costumes stink. When Cosmo points out that Vicky has a ton of candy and she's not even wearing a costume, Timmy connects the dots and realizes that it's because she's so scary. So he decided to wish that all of their costumes were real and scary.
Oh, it's time to get down to business and spook up this boring scene. I wish things were real and real scary. Tonight on Halloween! Real and scary! Like a vampire's face in the night! Real and scary! Like a witch on a broom taking flight! Real and scary! Like an unwashed, forgotten latrine! Real and scary!
Like it's it covered hormone crazed teen?
Cosmo and Wanda grant Timmy's wish, and we see everyone start turning. AJ turns into Frankenstein, Chester turns into Dracula, and Timmy turns into a little gross mummy. Meanwhile, down the block, we see the rich kids turning into real Jackobots, and Elmer turning into some weird version of Crash Nebula with a boil.
Prepare for pulse-pounding space action and pulse-pounding, pulsing face pustules.
Seek out additional Jackobots
to form Pumpkinator Doomsday device and make this the worst Halloween ever by destroying the Earth. Jackobots, activate gloat mode.
Timmy ends up being shocked when he realizes that everyone has been turned into monsters as well, not realizing that he literally wished that everyone and everything was real and scary. Meanwhile,
Me, Jeff, and Eric are going torturing. Where'd you put my death ray? Hey, what are you guys watching?
The Earthlings have triggered a doomsday device called the Pumpkinator that's going to blow up their entire planet.
Awesome! I mean, not awesome! That is my beloved evil Vicky. You must let me save her!
Well, I suppose we could put her in the zoo as a last survivor of a dead planet.
Mark and his friends go to Earth to save Vicky, and he quickly finds her 50,000 Yugobotamian miles away, which is exactly 2 Earth inches.
Oh, great. You geeks. Where'd you get the stupid European costumes, dorks are us?
Vicky! My beloved, 'tis I, Mark! Your rocking princely love from... Look out! She's armed! Oh, the sky! It rains death!
Timmy sees the Yugobotamians nearby and realizes that they aren't in costume and are actual aliens. Timmy hears them say that the world is doomed, and when he sees the rich kids in their Jackobot costumes flying, he connects the dots and realizes that they're gonna link up and blow up the Earth. Unfortunately, because Cosmo and Wanda were turned into those weird blue zombie things, they aren't fairies anymore, so Timmy can't just wish everything back to normal. Timmy tasks Cosmo with keeping Mark stalled, which he does pretty easily.
Come, Vicky! Let us board my princely pod and blow this rock!
Hold it right there. I'm afraid I can't let you gentlemen leave just yet. I'm here to inspect your vehicle. But first, it's time for my break.
Wanda takes Timmy's decomposing head to the Dimsdale Costume Emporium as the Jackobots attack. Timmy finds some leftover clearance costumes in an attempt to change himself.
This might sound cliche, but you gotta throw my severed head into the clearance bin.
But Timmy, none of those costumes can stop a 30-foot-tall doomsday device.
Alone? Probably not. Together? They probably can!
With the massive Pumpkinator having been assembled out of all 4 Jackobots, Timmy has 5 minutes to defeat it before the Earth explodes. With his new form, he takes the Pumpkinator one-on-one.
Pickle, monkey, chicken, taco.
I know, Puddin'. I will mourn him for 9,000 Yugobotamian days. And now I'm done. and freeze one of his clones.
Timmy ends up almost being defeated by the Pumpkinator. He finds himself pinned to the ground with nowhere else to run and having lost a massive tooth. He asks Wanda for help, and she gets the bright idea to take Cosmo's pillow and put it over the tooth, which spawns the Tooth Fairy, who's actually Dr. Bender. Wanda takes this opportunity to take his crown and wand, which turns her into a fairy since she's technically wearing a fairy costume.
Make a wish! Make any wish!
I don't want everything real and scary. I want Halloween the way it's supposed to be. Fake and safe.
I'm a fairy again! 5 more minutes.
With everything back to normal, Mark confronts Timmy, questioning if the planet is really arming itself, which Timmy takes as the perfect opportunity to push Mark away in fear. He says that Earth is declaring war on Yugopotamia, and Mark swiftly asks his parents to beam him up to the mothership as he says that he's launching the P-bomb.
Timmy, make a wish! That thing could go at any minute!
That's right. And remember, the Yugopotamians are idiots. They think good is bad and ugly is pretty. And their ultimate weapon is candy.
The P is for pinata!
Oh, phew! There goes my worst case scenario.
With the P-bomb being a piñata, candy starts raining from the sky and everybody celebrates, but ultimately they all end up in the dentist's office, having suffered from massive amount of cavities, which is where the episode ends. Now, I'm gonna lay it on pretty heavy here, and I'm not gonna hold anything back. I love the Fairly Odd Parents. I think that the first few seasons were gold, but the later seasons just felt like they were beating a dead horse. This episode specifically is an exception to that point. This is a season 2 episode, so it's early on, but in my opinion, it just was kind of a lackluster episode. It just kind of was meh, to be honest. I can't lie to you guys, I struggled a little bit to make it through the end of this episode. It was just kind of boring to me. Like, sure, the costumes were pretty cool, I'll give it that much, but like, I just feel like this episode didn't do a very good job keeping my attention. It kind of felt like they phoned it in a little bit. I also really hate the song that plays partway through the episode.
On Halloween, all through the night, we should be filled with fear and fright. But I don't see much here tonight. 'Cause everything is so fake. I want something real and real scary. Not cardboard squeaky or clean. I want something big, green, and hairy.
Like a frog on a fur trampoline?
No!
I don't know, it's just kind of like nails on a chalkboard for me. Timmy's shrill singing voice is just irritating, and the cadence and tone of the song is just kind of blech. There is one tiny part of this episode that I did absolutely love though, and that would be the part at the end when the P-bomb was falling. Cosmo made a joke that just absolutely killed me.
P is for pinata!
Oh, phew! There goes my worst case scenario.
Now, I could be off base here, but my gutter mind is pretty sure that's a golden shower joke. Now, that was funny, but the rest of the episode was just kind of meh. But hey, at least it fit in with the rest of the Halloween episodes on this DVD, so it had that going for it. And that's gonna be where this DVD ends. I'm honestly so glad that I found this in my old DVD collection. I bought this thing at a store years upon years ago, and I was so hyped when I found it. This just fits in perfectly with spooky season, and I'm really hoping that maybe I can find a Christmas-themed DVD to talk about a little closer to Christmas time. The overall packaging of these films makes me so happy. I enjoy the fact that it's a blend of multiple different shows and not just one show. I personally thought this DVD was awesome for the most part, but what do you think? What was your favorite episode on this DVD? Would you like me to do more videos like this one in the future? Let me know in the comments down below. I always appreciate seeing your guys' feedback. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a like and give praise to the YouTube algorithm in hopes that it recommends this video to everyone else. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.